Okay. Welcome to my COMM 3078 final project. Today I'm going to be talking about the algorithms politics and the role of social media algorithms in the rise of political extremism. So my main inspiration for choosing this topic as my project was my experiences online and growing up online. So um, you do witness a lot of trends, and usually they're not here to stay, but um, they often serve as a mirror for the values and the beliefs that we uphold. And with reactionary content and extreme content being so popular online right now, I really couldn't help but question where it was coming from. And another thing that I've noticed growing up online is how drastic the social media landscape has become compared to when it first started out. So, before, users used to only be able to have posts from people that they followed on their feed, and now it's very different. Now we have recommendation algorithms kind of pushing content towards us, and it's not like the user necessarily consciously chose that content to be shown to them, but it's more so just being recommended to them. And so, with these two in mind, I really wanted to see if they were connected to each other. Sorry. Okay, so for today, I'm going to argue that content propagation algorithms impose on users creative processes, enabling the rise of extreme content and causing further division in the digital political sphere. So today, I'm going to talk about how social media algorithms work, their influence on the creative process, and the future of the digital political landscape. So first, we need to understand how social media algorithms work. And there are a lot of algorithms that these platforms use. But today we're going to be talking about the recommendation algorithm. So content recommendation algorithms are designed to predict the user's likelihood to engage with the post. And the way that it does this is that it extracts data from prior engagement and then it ranks, it uses this data to rank certain posts. And then it will eventually be used to create a user's feed. And this data is or ranges from implicit to explicit feedback. And I'll talk more about this later. And then finally, the user is fed content calculated by the algorithm to draw their attention and engagement. And really, the most important thing about content recommendation algorithms is their goal. And their goal is to keep the user online and to keep them scrolling. So, what is implicit versus explicit feedback? So, explicit feedback is what social media platforms have been using since they started. And it's feedback, well, sorry, it's data and information that the user directly gives to the platform. So, likes, comments, and shares are all examples of explicit feedback. Um, this is very different compared to implicit feedback, which is what platforms have been using as of late. So, implicit feedback is also known as unconscious emotional reactions rather than our rational and deliberative mode of thought. So, one example that I can think of is when you're driving on the freeway and you come across a really bad car crash and you really just can't help but look at it. And even though it might evoke some negative emotions, it's kind of like the curiosity that keeps you staring at it. And so this is kind of similar to our experiences on social media, where a lot of the time we come across a video that annoys us or evokes some kind of emotion, and we just stay on it because we're already intrigued. And so what this does is that it signals to the algorithm that we want more of that content because of the algorithm's goal, which is to keep us scrolling and keep us on the platform. And something that I really wanted to highlight in my presentation is that when algorithms rely on implicit feedback, content that reinforces our subconscious biases may be pushed towards us. So, how does this affect content creation? So, given the algorithm's nature, content creators must appeal to it to raise their engagement numbers. Philosopher of technology, Herbert Marcuse, would describe this behavior as a side effect of technological rationality that algorithms have on the productive labor process. He says the individual's performance is motivated, guided, and measured by standards external to him. So, because influencers are constantly competing with one another to get the most engagement, get the most likes and shares and followers, they have to produce a large amount of content, even if that means it comes at the cost of the quality. And when you are pushing out hundreds of videos, a lot of times you don't have time to critically analyze these videos for the imagery and the messaging that they're promoting. And so, because of this, creators become coincidentally, maybe not coincidentally, but I'm just going to say for now, coincidentally incentivized to resort to provocative messaging and imagery to bait viewers. Okay, so what happens now is that content creators prey on viewers' emotions by displaying provocative or inflammatory messaging in their content, such as that found in rage bait or AI slap. And one thing that I wanted to talk about for when it comes to AI is how much easier it makes for these creators to pump out these videos. And one example that I found was through this user Critter on TikTok, and their whole account is basically AI generated videos. This video that I'm going to show right now has 5.6 million views, and we're going to talk about why that is. So first, I'm going to play the video. Okay, so just from that first 10 seconds, you can tell that the creator of the video is trying to prey on your emotions. First, it shows the car crash, that the two kittens that are coincidentally and very conveniently cute to draw on your emotions. So at first, you witness the two very cute kittens experience a car crash, and then one of them is injured, as you can see right here. And then there's also the use of the music. So that's a very popular song by Billie Eilish. Um, and all of these kind of factors or pieces of the video combine to kind of take advantage of the user's emotions and also invoke some kind of curiosity. I know when I was coming across or searching for these videos, I couldn't help but keep watching, even though I knew that it was pure garbage. I just could not help but keep watching, just like the example that I gave about the car crash. Um, Another video that I wanted to talk about that I think is becoming more popular or a more popular way of attracting viewers is rage bait. So is an example of rage bait. It's titled "Mama Preps Thanksgiving Dinner," and I remember seeing this video on TikTok. I think last year when Thanksgiving was happening, and again, this video has a lot of views. It has 3.9 million views, and we'll just I'll just play a little bit of this video. Okay, so from this video, you can tell that it's obviously rage bait. This woman is cooking dinner and doesn't look very appetizing. But something else that I wanted to highlight is how rage bait videos often rely on people's biases to get views. So from this video specifically, I just took look at the comments right now, and a lot of the comments are basically roasting this mom for using canned mac and cheese. And when I was first viewing this video, it didn't really come across to me like there was like a classist undertone. But like when I was thinking about it more, I kind of thought about how oftentimes people who are, you know, poor or who don't have a lot of money to spend for Thanksgiving dinner or just dinner in general resort to the use of canned foods. And so you could kind of like see how this video is kind of preying upon our biases, like even our subconscious biases, because at first I came across this video and I was like, oh, it's kind of gross, you know, like I wouldn't want to eat that myself. But when I thought about it more, I kind of thought about how um this kind of reveals kind of like a bias that we have towards poor people who tend to or who coincidentally use canned foods. So that's something else that I wanted to talk about how rage bait kind of relies on these biases to get their point across, to kind of get you angry and to evoke emotion from you. So now on to the future of the digital political landscape. So the use of provocative content has transformed the digital political landscape through the creation of echo chambers. So when creators are, you know, using resorting to provocative content, it kind of desensitizes viewers, and it's kind of desensitized me personally. Like whenever I come across a provocative video, I kind of just go scroll past it and don't really think anything of it. And because of this, they kind of have to shift to the extreme now. They have to show really extreme circumstances and really extreme situations to get our attention. And so for the political landscape, this means political commentators and social media accounts will use extreme messaging to gather views. Some examples that I found are from political social media accounts, mainly through Lives of TikTok on TikTok and Twitter. And then another guilty party that I found was a politically neutral account, such as Jubilee. So both, you can notice that both political and non-political accounts are guilty of this. So this first video is from Jubilee, and it's titled "Leftist versus Liberal versus Conservative versus MAGA," and it has 1.3 million views. Um, Something that jumped out to me was how they display the leftist person right here. She's kind of like dressed out of the ordinary. Like you don't really see like a regular person out like that every day, you know? And then kind of like the finger pointing right here and the confusion, it kind of like evokes again like curiosity. Like it kind of draws you in and makes you kind of like think like, oh, what's that video about, you know? And then another popular account that I've come across is Lives of TikTok on Twitter. And this tweet right here shows them posting about a drag show. Um, and they have like a lot of instances. Well, their whole account is basically making fun of people who are liberal. And a lot of the time they don't post just, I guess, normal normal people or people who tend to dress more within the societal standard, but they kind of they usually post like the outliers. So right here they have a drag queen kind of doing their thing. Um, but either way, both of these examples represent the groups in the video as caricatures. They don't represent the groups in their entirety. I mean, I'm sure there are leftists and leftist people who um, don't dress so outwardly the way these do. Um, but yeah. And this is kind of like another form of the rage bait where it's just taking it to the extreme and kind of leaning into your biases a little bit more. So if you already have a bias towards liberal people, or even conservative people, seeing these caricatures only makes you want to watch the content more because it kind of serves as evidence for why you hold certain beliefs. So, in using extreme messaging and imagery, creatives are consequently flattening the identities of the people they represent. So, like I said earlier, they serve as supporting evidence for one's confirmation biases, and because of this, users continue to consume this content. And when users interact with the extreme content, the algorithm is still operating on the principle that it wants you to stay on the platform and keep scrolling. So, when you interact with this content, you're also signaling to the algorithm to provide you with more of the same to consume. And this leads people down echo chambers. So the algorithm is just keep it's just doing its job and it just keeps showing you the same content. And eventually you're not able to come across different perspectives. And because of this, users are rarely exposed to opposing viewpoints on their social media feeds. And when they do come across these differing perspectives, a lot of times there's hostility. And finally, this affects the digital political landscape at large because it just segregates us more. There's people who are in the leftist echo chamber and they never really come across um, conservative ideology, and then there's people who are in the right echo chamber, and they never really interact. They never really get the opportunity to interact with different perspectives. And the only time they do interact with these different perspectives is like the ones right here, where they're kind of showing the outliers and they're not really representing the people or the group in its entirety. So that's how algorithms kind of lead to extremism and change our political landscape and contribute to more division. Here is my works cited page, and thank you very much.